Alright, so we have a lot to talk about today. So I have. Let me number these. Okay, I have 9 things to talk about, or that I feel are important to bring up. So, anyway, first off, we have the dragon that they start off. Obviously, this is mid session, or from ending mid session. And now, I do like the fact that this session, I actually did get to use as the healing potion jars. Because I have 2 of them. I forget if I brought this up before, but I have a greater one, which is the formula for the greater healing potion, being 4d4 plus 4. And then I have a regular healing potion that is 2d4 plus 2. So, honestly, really cool. Very helpful to have as a DM because I have it like right in front of my computer. So I just had to say like, okay, so regular healing potion, right? If they say yes, then great, I list that off. If they say no, greater, okay, I go and pick up the greater and read that off. Otherwise, they do have to search for it. But yeah, anyway, back to the dragon. So why did it run away? Technically. Well, simply put, a lot of the dragons here are not there to be murdered, essentially. They are to pose as challenges and to prove that people are worthy and courageous enough to actually fight the dragon. So, what will the dragons stop, and what will they do? Well, first off, they will stop anybody that is a coward. These dragons will not fight to death, essentially. They will concede the fight at a certain point. If people decide to go after they concede, then, yeah. They will use their reaction to go and send a message to somebody saying the next people are not honorable, and then the entire dungeon is going to fight them all at once, because if they don't want to respect normal battle, then yeah, the dragons will not do an honorable fight. They will go and literally go to these people to murder. And so basically, you at that point probably will want to resurrect and make the dragon a little bit more nice, because otherwise, the entire dungeon is going to murder you. It's literally one or the other. So, yeah. They will normally fight to about, like, half health is usually where it's like, okay, yeah, I am probably going to just, like, back off a bit. If they chase, okay, I might go through. But I will still concede at about a 4th of the HP bar, which is 42 exactly. So, it was going to start trying to get away at this point, but not fully, essentially. It was going to still try to murder Speedy, though. Oh, sorry, Squishy, not Speedy. I don't know why I said Speedy. But probably best start with S, essentially, and that's why. But, anyway. So yeah, Squishy was a coward because Squishy never really engaged in the fight. Squishy just went on ahead. So obviously that pissed off the dragons, and they branded him a coward, and so they weren't going to fight honorably and were going to try to get the person out because they've done they've accomplished what they wanted. So there's that. Now, there was a chase, so obviously the dragon could fly. It flies at 80 feet, because it flew through the room and then attacked. So clearly it could have kept up, and clearly could have done more. Why didn't? Well, it wasn't so much that I was aiding the players in this. Now, yes, I do say you can assume that yes, I was doing that. It's incorrect. Here's why. The reason that I didn't have the dragon fly is simply because it's like it's an honorable dragon. So it's like, okay, sure. Cowards trying to take them down, why not? If they manage to get out, great. But if they go and manage to like actually escape and get outside the cave without it actually like being just like so much more mobile, I guess. Like, yeah, they earned the right to leave at that point. So since they did since they did actually manage to go and get outside the cave, then they did effectively get through it. Now I am going to check on Squishy's HP. Actually, I should probably do that. Hold on. Okay, so that's actually interesting for running away. I didn't really realize that it did actually increase at 6th level. So yeah, because Squishy is 6th level monk, they do have naturally 30 speed, and since they are unarmored, not only do they get the unarmored defense of dexterity and their wisdom, but they get plus 15 to their speed. So yes, that was actually the correct. They did go and run out. Like, yeah. I thought it was odd. Perfectly fine. Perfectly legit. No questions there. No issues. Anyway, so I'm sure that some of you all might question about the Mara and the crab thing that happened in the jail. So obviously, Mara looks at Wretched and is like, okay, he does whatever. Like, yeah. Like with Mara, she just assumes that he's probably going to do some sort of crime. So yeah, therefore, she locks him. If he's ever sleeping in the jail cell, she just usually locks him up. Like, it's just like one of those ones where it's like, you know what you did, and if not, punishment for a future one. Whatever is the deal thing, and we don't care. And so yeah, obviously, she did that this time. Now, Joker. Sorry, Squishy did go and jokingly say that it was to taunt that was taunt him. It was kind of that, but also not. Like, she was more, she wasn't there to really taunt him. She was more there to kind of like mock him. Kind of just like, looking over at him. It's like, haha, look who's arrested and chained up to a wall. And then he said, what he did out loud to where Mara would definitely have been able to heard it. So yeah, Mara just goes and says to the crowd, as you all know, and the crowd does the breath attack. So what does Mara know? And why was that crab underneath her desk? So, not done here, and I haven't changed this map to where I could do it, but like probably around here, or some place around here. Like, there's another path essentially, that instead goes to the police station. So that crab is indeed Arya. I don't mind saying that. For the purposes of when she transforms arms, she will come up as that creature type. Actually, let me confirm on that. Okay, no, actually, I stand correct. So yeah, she still does classify as a dragon. So whenever you're attacking, and if the dragon related stuff applies, it would apply when you hit the crab. Such as like Dragon Slayer, for example. That actually would apply when they hit Arya in the crab form. The reason for that is essentially Arya goes and still is classified as a dragon. And so like basically like the size changes, but other than that, Arya's stats stay the same, no matter what it is. So essentially she is always classified as a dragon. Because she is ultimately a dragon. So yes. However, in any sort of like perception check, part of why I keep saying that it is a crab is as like from where they can chill and check, it is a crab. So by their knowledge, it's a crab. It's just a crab. It's a very powerful crab. It's basically like a crab god, essentially. Like Lucas jokingly calls it Neptune. Which is fair. Fair enough. I'm not gonna dispute it. But yeah, like, that is what goes on. So, how would Mara know? And what does Mara know about it? Well, I reasoned that Ball would have told her about Arya, essentially. Cause like, in all honesty, I would not be too surprised about like, Ball, like inviting Mara onto like a sort of like, dragon related like vacation day, and so like basically Mara and Arya probably would have talked at that point, basically. And like Ball might have talked about like about Arya's transformations and stuff like that. And so at that point it's like, okay, so if I see a crab in the police station, don't worry about it. Don't do any harm to it. It's probably Arya. If I see a spider come into a police station, it's probably Sophia. Don't mess with it. If for some reason I see a bat come into the police station, try to have no interaction with it. It's Emily. But if the bat comes by, be sure to go and pet it and be nice to it. And be all friendly and kind to it. And like, as for what Charlotte or Tori would transform into, I don't know if they really have anything that they would want to transform into. Like, Charlotte maybe a snow rabbit? Like, maybe a snow rabbit, but like, she's very well known, so like, I feel like she would probably just keep it in her human form. Not really worry too much about the animal form, essentially. As for Tori, I don't know if she really cares. Or essentially, like, yeah, she has the dragon form, but I feel like she just kind of keeps into like the human form because one, she can, and then it's just a little bit more convenient. I'll be real for her. So like she might go and transform into the dragon form, but if she does, it's literally just to complain about size type stuff. So yeah, I mean she might, but I don't see it. I see her just more as in the human form. So yeah, like all that probably happened, and so therefore, at this point, Mara would know about like Arya and like just the powerful crab. Hence why at one point she did say like, yeah, that crab's not my problem. I know what that crab is. Not my issue. So yeah. Now that leads into the first thing that happened in the costume, or one of the first things that happened in it, being the spectators' horror at them eating crabs. So first off, crabs are sacred. Like I do say consistently. Like in this town, crabs are sacred. That's not to say that the people of the town don't eat crabs, but if they do, they go and eat crabs from like they go to like a town over, essentially. And so like again, yeah, they probably go and have like a some sort of like freezer, either that or they go and specifically request Aria to kind of like get the crabs for them. That way they know like, okay, so Arya's not going to be pissed off, and therefore all of that goes on. The townspeople will not buy crab. Does not matter who you're asking here. It does not matter who you are asking. They will not buy crab. This town will not buy crab. Straight up. So yeah, that kind of screws them over, partly because of the crab thing. But like I said, yeah, Satori probably told about the overfarming of crab, because she loves to complain. So hi, that's a complaint for her. So yeah, therefore the complaints have been done. And so like, they don't care. Like even if they try to go and be like the players decide to like offer the townspeople to buy some crab or offer them some, they will literally just deny it, because like in their minds, these people are questionably sourced have questionably sourced crabs from like some random person. Odds are you're not going to do that. You're not obviously not. Your odds are you're not going to do that to random people. Now to a store, okay, sure, but in this town, no. In this town, in Dawsbury, crabs. The only one that can be a crab merchant is Arya. Nobody else can. Nobody else will buy a crab. Honestly, nobody else will. Now, speaking of the Colosseum, there's a couple things to be very much noted on this. So, first off are the rules. So, obviously they had Arya, so they had the Arya rules. But, we didn't touch on what the normal rules are. So, first off, like these is, if they're not otherwise contradicted by a different set, these are how they are. So, first off, beast matches are to the death. That is always true. The second normal rule is there's no running from a match. So that will count as surrender for reference. And essentially, wait, no. Yeah, no, running from a fight is just like leaving the battlefield, and just not coming back. If you do that, like, yeah, you're probably going to be dealing with a harsher thing and possibly having effectively a very, let's say, public execution. Like, yeah, you kind of don't want to break that rule. Yeah, that's like the big rule. The third thing is more for the organizers, where there's no dragons to be fought. Now, to a certain extent, they don't mind people capturing things and bringing them in to essentially like fight as like a little bit of a sport type thing. Essentially, like, they don't mind that essentially. But if you have a dragon, essentially, that you're doing that with, nope. The tournament will hold on. Okay, so I got to where nobody should show up again. But yeah. Anyway. So the dragon rules just like people will not organize fights with that. Hold on. For reference on there, I actually just accidentally unplugged my monitor. That's basically fun. Yes. Yes, I do have something that makes it to where my monitor can be unplugged. I just had to deal with it, essentially. To be fair, it's the same way with both monitors, but yeah, anyway. So moving on to the betting related rules. As I did say this, so the number one rule is you're not allowed to bet on your own match, mainly so that people can't lose the fight and then effectively go and, do general things. And so, as for the money that's being done, yeah, I'll get to that. But everybody must put the money up front. So if you say you're going to bet 5 gold, you have to have that 5 gold. You have to be able to place it in with them. They'll give you a slip that you bet 5 gold on this fight on this day. So they will enter into the record book that fight that day and the result. So for example, actually hold on, let me move maps. Yeah, so for example with this fight, if you bet on like Justin and Wretched to win, they lost. So if you had a ticket saying that you bet on Wretched and Wretched and freaking and Oswald, you lost your fight and you don't get the money. However, if you had a ticket that went and said you won on him, then yes, they will go and actually recognize it. Obviously, there's going to be like ink related things to where like they scan it and then like either confirms that you did buy it or you essentially have like a counterfeit ticket and therefore yeah, you don't get it. But it is what it is. Then if you want to like I know that there's a number 2 thing, but like if you want to run surrender without making an attempt, you actually have to refund those that bet on you, essentially the bets they made. So if somebody bet 5 gold, if they're the only one that bet 5 gold on you, and then you decide to surrender basically immediately, or without actually like doing any sort of attack, then like you have to refund that person the 5 gold. But if that's like say 50 500 plat, then 500 plat of bets, then it's probably not that you're giving one person 500 plat, but it's probably more like there's just so many people. There's probably like 5,000 people that bet like say a single gold on you, and so like you need to pay the 5,000 people the single gold. That will make it to be a total of 500 plat. Like, it can be expensive, so you definitely want to make an attempt. And then there's an agreement that by betting any money, by betting, any money not evenly divisible to all the winners will be pocketed by the Coliseum owners or some other crowd drawing individual. More on that later. Now, for Aria rules, because again, like I said, it would have been mentioned that they were under Arya rules. So first off, there's no surrendering, and surrender now conceding is allowed in gladiator fights. That would be about like 25% HP. Let me confirm about wretched being available for that. Okay, honestly, not exactly the amount that I expected, but honestly, like, for the most part, kind of close enough. Like, literally, if it was like one more point of damage, it's like high, 24%. So, honestly, fair enough. I say that is perfectly fine. And I was like, it's a slight break of a rule, but like, honestly, it's like 1 HP. It's 1 HP to do like 2%. So like, honestly, close enough to 25%. So valid enough to say like, okay, I concede I'm not gonna be able to win this. Essentially, because to be fair, what were HP totals? So yeah, it was 54 exactly. So honestly, would have been on a decently balanced match essentially. But yeah, actually, yeah, no, that would have been a balanced match. In terms of HP, like, I didn't even notice it at the time, but yeah, that was actually a pretty balanced match. On paper. On paper, it was a balanced match. But yeah, I'll get to that later. So, the second rule of when Arya's in the arena and watching over things, dragons, funny enough, are allowed to be fought on one condition. Arya can say, hey, organizers, this person's in the arena, right? It's like, yep, they are in the Coliseum, they are agreeing to fight today. It's like, great. Have them fight this dragon alone. Or whatever, basically. And so therefore, there will probably be a amethyst dragon that comes up there's probably an amethyst dragon that comes up from the lair. And then the party or the group that she's selected walks into the arena and fights the dragon that she's selected. So yeah, that's kind of the one place where dragons are allowed to be fought. Now 3 is not something that got brought up, but it did happen. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, Arya is allowed to yell out mid-fight and change the rules. Such as Oswald versus Wretched versus Redox. Like I said, it was unstated because, like, basically, like, once that Wretched and, like, once that, Wretched attacked his teammate, Arya probably would have went over and it's like, oh my, yes, we got a Battle Royale. Alright, folks, let's get pumped, or something like that. Like, basically just, like, voicing the fact that she approves of this being a Battle Royale instead, basically. So, yeah. It's just kind of how the arena is. Now, as for 4, this more is for when she decides to have a dragon. So, Arya is also allowed to call fights before the fight actually concludes. She does call the win. Now, that's under gladiator fights. If it is a beast that's being fought, such as like a giant ape, for example. She does not get to control whether or not the fight is over. Mainly because the beast. Hold on, let me see if the beast has control. So basically, also on this, secret rules for Arya calling the winner. Yeah, she's actually not allowed to call the dragon, outside of one specific reason, and it makes a lot of sense. So she's only allowed to call the dragon if the dragon is fine, and on the side opposing the dragon, they are clearly not. Such as like they're all bloody, they're all like panting, out of breath, probably about to die, and just collapse essentially. And the dragon's, like I said, mostly fine, and or just seemingly like not really having that much issue, essentially. If she is, yeah, if she's calling to, like, basically, she can only, like, I concede for the side she's trying to protect. Typically, she's going to be trying to protect the dragon, and, well, trying to protect the dragon from being murdered. So, therefore, yeah, she's not allowed to call it the dragon. However, she's trying to protect the people, then she's allowed to kind of like, she calls the, if she's trying to protect the people for whatever reason, then she'll call the dragon, basically. That's in general what it is. For reference, there'll also probably be dragons generally around the arena. So, yeah. I'm not sure about how obvious it would have been. I would say they probably could go and get to the arena in a decent bit, essentially. So like they might not be like in the arena or like on the walls, but they're at least around to where like Arya can go like telepathically say like, "Hey, start preparing. We might need you to come in to deal with like insert thing here." And then basically at that point they'll see a dragon flying around the arena. So that part is probably more likely to happen in beast matches, but yeah, you might get the dragon to have that happen in a point where some person wants to be particularly unruly, let's just say, and continue the fight despite Arya calling it. So, yeah. Now, to be fair, if Arya does call it, then, yeah. Like, you can only call it at initiative 0, essentially, for reference. So, essentially, I go and count things as initiative 30 because I don't think you can ever really get to being at initiative 30. I mean, actually, yeah, I'll probably say initiative 40. So basically just like initiative so high that somebody can't reach it. That's where, that's where somebody that's like super on top of things will probably act, essentially. But like somebody coming in will act in general on initiative 0. So obviously she can call it at initiative 0. We'll do another round, and like the dragon, upon hearing it, will probably not take its turn, but the other players, if they want to disobey, they can. That said, they probably don't. For a reference about what happens if you disobey the calling of Arya, well, some of those little dragons might come down to deal with you. And yeah. You might go and get the, let's say, adult to come down to. Now, how it would be about Arya fighting in the arena as she's there, don't know. My best guess is, like, Mara playing a, like, little bit of a projection, essentially. Like, maybe. Either that, or essentially, like, she projects that Arya is, like, is getting up to go to the bathroom, basically. And therefore, like, that's why she's, like, there. Obviously, Arya would have to kind of leave and go back to her seat, actually, from the bathroom. But, it is what it is. So, those are the rules of the Colosseum. Now, what are the spoils of the Colosseum? And how might you get them? Well, obviously, if you are betting on other matches of the Colosseum, you can actually get a tidy sum, as the party will figure out. Now, I didn't necessarily want to do it, but I didn't want to fully punish them for basically things that I didn't fully warn them about. But it is what it is, essentially. So, yeah. So, keep in mind, I definitely could have been mean when, like, when I talk about the bets, yeah, I could have been mean. I decided not to, because I didn't want to, I purposely didn't want to, like, punish them. If I'm going to do if I'm going to decide something, I would rather decide to reward my players, especially if they didn't really do anything particularly wrong. Now, if they choose to flee a fight by, like, say, teleportation, which, keep in mind, teleportation would also be running away from a match. So, yeah. That's something you should not do, either. To be fair, I will say, I will tell Amy about that, essentially. That way, like, if the fight goes south with his, yeah, he knows to not teleport. He knows to, like, just deal with it, effectively. Now, they can also decide to go and call it at any time, and essentially, they will get no more fights, basically. But, they can continue to do the arena for as long as they want to, effectively. Now, after a certain bit, I will say probably the arena closes for the day, and they can do whatever, basically. But yeah, the spoils typically, the best spoils are actually involved when Arya is in the arena, or is watching over the arena. So, what do I mean by that? Well, obviously, from betting, you can get a lot of money. If you do well in the arena as well, you can get a tidy sum, essentially. So, yeah. That is a thing you can do as well. But, like I said, the best reward comes from Arya. Because if you are a, how we say, powerful individual and are doing very, very well in the arena, Arya, might actually say, as from rule, 2, essentially, she might decide for you to take on a special challenge. If you pass said special challenge, well, Arya will personally come out and reward you. So, obviously, that can be a number of things. If it is a group she is rewarding, keep in mind, she will be rewarding the group, essentially. So, if they want to fight, say, the leader of the dungeon, and they are allowed. Now, as they are the ones that prove themselves, only the ones that decide to take up that will be able to actually proceed with said challenge. And the rest, if they go and choose to take some sort of prize, is they will not be involved in that fight. But, like I said, if you do decide to take on the leader of the dungeon, you can indeed get a lot better spoils, essentially. But as for essentially what will Arya do it after you complete her special challenge, well, she will provide effectively any sort of like if you go and successfully beat the dungeon one or the layer one, you get any sort of reward, even if it's like Hike the Dragon. Hi, you all know who I'm referring to with that. But anyway, so with regular Arya coming out, Noah's like second fight, basically. Then, if you want, say, like, any piece of information, she will tell you. You want any sort of, like, drink from her bar, or she'll go and, for example, give you free drinks for a week. So after a week passes, like, you can do it. Now, obviously, it's going to be within limits. So, like, basically, like, say, like, like, she'll probably limit somebody to about, like, I would say 50 gold per day is a solid limit, essentially, for a bar. So, yeah. That's probably about fair, essentially. But what actually happens with the regular with the upgrade spoils? Again, as mentioned, well, actually, I guess that you wouldn't necessarily be agreeing to a date if you don't beat the Lord, essentially. But you can request it, essentially. She can accept it if she's a little bit more willing to do that. However, if you beat the layer boss, which the layer boss will be using the layer actions, so keep that in mind. But the layer boss will be using that in that fight. No holding back at all. If you decide you want to hug the dragon after the fight, then yeah, you'll accept. Essentially, if you want a date with Arya, whether or not she hates you is irrelevant. She'll accept. And yes, I do go bring up the fact that if she hates you, she'll accept because you beat the layer boss, or the layer. Yeah, you dealt with the leader of the layer. So yeah, if you dealt with that person, like yeah, she like a deal is a deal. She it would be anything. So that's anything. Now for reference, there's going to be like magic items are kind of like a limitation. Like obviously, I'm not going to give them like say a legendary magic item right now, essentially. Because well, yes, that's technically something that's possible. I kind of don't want to release them with to go and have fun and chaos with a legendary magic item. So yeah, kind of don't want to deal with that. But it is what it is. So, as for Arya at the Colosseum, now, believe it or not, I actually do have more to say on that. So, well, yes, I have talked about her rules and about what can happen with the spoils. Why was Arya at the arena? Well, obviously, you know, she's the crab. She's not really cared too much about Wretched. So, I feel that she might have gotten told by Mara, saying, hey, by the way, these people are at the arena. It's like she just looks over at Mara and says, like, on my way. Because, yeah, obviously, like, if people she doesn't really have high opinions of are, like, going to be fighting in the arena, you better believe she's going to be going there to nothing else, see whether or not they go and get beat up. But it is what it is. So, what happened with Wretched / Justin versus Crafter? Well, funny enough, that was actually a very balanced one. I didn't necessarily plan it to be that balanced with HP and stuff, but it is what it is. So, yeah. Obviously, it was effectively a battle royal. But yeah. In theory, if Justin and Wretched had actually worked together, and by that I mean had Wretched not murdered Justin, had Justin played probably a little bit more, or like, hey, let's take down the opposing team, then yeah, it would have been better. So obviously he would not have taken down the imp, not with Fireball. The imp was indeed immune. However, the star spawn over here was not immune. So Justin, who had dealt what was his fireballs? So yeah, he had dealt over yeah, how many was it? So yeah, in theory, the star spawn could have had a extra 65 damage going to it. Now, that's a lot, actually. So, like it was said, essentially. Actually, let me read it. Okay, so actually, I did kind of realize that, like, yeah, technically I did cheat Crafter, even though it technically didn't matter. But, yeah, like, Justin had an extra 65 damage that he could have dealt to this thing, which ultimately did kill him. But, like, I'll be real, like, uh, I personally say that, like, uh, for summons, they can only do, like, one thing. Like, a general rule, for the arena is that, they can only do one thing every 6 seconds, essentially. Now, that's like one round, so basically they can only move or attack on their own turn, essentially. So, a beholder, for example, it doesn't get the eye negation, but it is ranged. So, it can attack from basically anywhere in the arena. Yes, that would mean that Mr. Teeth is there, and still would be going to close range. But you effectively are you are dealing with like a casting duel, essentially. Granted, one caster ultimately said, I don't care about myself, I cast Fireball on you! It's like, I'm on your team! I said I cast Fireball on you! Like, that's quite literally what he did. But, yeah. Like, part of the reason why I say that that's a more fine rule is usually the arena tries to make it so that, like, it's general, effectively. Because, like, obviously, if, like, I'm not sure about whether or not Ambi does. But, like, for example, if Ambi... Actually, does he... hold on, let me see if he does. Okay, so not the one that I was looking for, but good enough. Like, I know that druids have, like, a very, very high amount of spells. This is why I say that that ruling comes up. So, obviously, it screws over craft. That is, unfortunately, but fair. Now, keep in mind, he effectively can get it back every single time like in a fight. So, like, it doesn't matter. Now, druids and stuff who don't get it back every fight, they can, for example, use Summon Beast, and, like, as long as they don't have anything else they need to maintain concentration on, they can, if their beast ever dies, they can just summon a new one and, like, literally 90 feet out, essentially. And then go back to doing what they're doing. Like, that's kind of the reason that that rule would exist, essentially. So it's less to screw over warlocks like Crafter, and more to just, like, in general, kind of screw over, like, druids. Maybe not the wizards that can do, like, say, this. Okay, yeah, no, I'm just gonna say it's more to screw over druids, I'll be real. It honestly is just more to screw over druids, because, honestly, if you want to play a summoner, it really seems like you want to just be a druid. Like, honestly. I guess that also to kind of like screw over wizards, but, like, yeah. Actually, yeah, I guess that would be more to screw over wizards, like, so that they can't just, like, keep summoning fiends, fae, and other things that kind of, like are to, like, flat out, just, like, stop the opponent from getting close. Meanwhile, they're, like, fireballing them. Like, yeah, that's what the Dream would be trying to avoid. And so, like, that's why the normal rule of summons can only do one thing every 6 seconds. It's a meta thing, but for that type reason, I can understand. And actually, I guess that would be for, like, non-beast fights. summons can only do one thing. So like basically, if it's like another gladiator, then your summon can either move or it can attack. It cannot do both. It can, however, do a bonus action. Actually, no, I'm gonna say it can only do one type of action. And so, bonus action for reference, if what it can do as a bonus action would go and correlate with its normal action, such as like the dragon, for example. Like if you manage to find some way to summon I think it's only the adult. Let me check the young. Yeah, so say you got the adult one. I know you can't, but say you got it by some magical thing that you can just casually summon the friendly adult of this dragon. That, if it decides to move, it would go and be able to use a bonus action as a psionic step. If you choose to attack, if a spell, for example, is a bonus action, it can cast that. It can cast the spell as one of its attacks. But it, after 6 seconds, then can decide to move or attack again. Otherwise, no, it cannot. So that's kind of to balance out summoning. And now for the bets, because I don't think I have anything else to say about Wretched, Crafter, and Justin's fight. But well, actually, I guess this kind of does. But this kind of just more shows that I like they can't say that I never do anything for them, because yeah, to make it easier on me, I did kind of decide to do like the bets as effectively hordes. So what do I mean by that? Well, obviously there's a lot of people betting if it's a horde. So I rolled 60-100 to get the total number of people that bet, for reference. If it's a particularly high number, okay, sure, I might do it. But like in general, I'm probably going to say that the people of the town are betting probably about 1 plat, 1 gold. Like, they're probably generally doing that, essentially. Now, obviously, some might not be, but in general, they're going to be doing that, effectively. In this case, with Ambi, Joker, and Owl, their bet collection was ultimately 1 plat, 2 gold, 6 electrum, 2 silver, 6 copper. That was the average bet. Now, what was the original? And also me screwing up the original. So, originally it was 10 gold. It was originally 105 gold. Which, for reference, I'm also counting their gold as basically part of that pot. Like, basically, I just rolled the pot, effectively. For reference. So, whatever they place in, it's basically just, like, in that pot. I just basically have to make sure that whatever they placed in is in the pot, or is correlated to the pot. Now, that said, what they do later is another story. So originally I was going to do I was originally going to do 105 gold, 400 silver, 2,600 copper. So I had math very much not go up, or very much not math, because I got that the total pot was 10,000, 10,516,600 CP. Keep in mind, when I had 140 plat and 2,600, I didn't get too much more than 4 million. So my math was definitely off. Basically, I more noticed I was off when it's like, let's see, somewhat small number, and it's averaging people getting 14 platinum. Mind you, 73 people were sharing the pot evenly. So if people are averaging, if the average is to go and get 14 plat, something's not right when there's only 105 gold in the pot. So I actually reworked the math, figured out that it was actually 121,600 copper. That actually worked out to be 1 gold, 6 X electrum, 6 silver, 5 CP per winning bet. Now, the players bet 5 GP. So, since I didn't fully warn them, saying, "Hey, by the way, if you bet the amount, they, you might not get all your money back." Effectively, like, yeah, it is effectively the case. Now, you can somewhat argue about, like, people doing, essentially, like, certain bets. Like, if you bet, like, a ridiculously low number, they're probably going to give you, like, they're probably going to take a little bit more out of your share, essentially. So, like, yeah. What the Coliseum does with the amount they take out of people's shares, it's debatable. But, yeah. I'm going to make sure that the players don't casually be like, "I bet 1 copper." And then expect to go and get, like, say, platinum for betting a single copper. Now, if they were particularly unlikely, if people really didn't expect them to win the fight, like, if you see if they see the layer person, bets might not be available for that, because, yeah, people are more likely in this town to believe that the layer, the leader of the layer is probably going to win the fight. Just saying. So, in that case, I might let you bet 1 copper and get a plat out of it. But, yeah. Not generally. You're not betting that little and getting that much. So, yeah. It is what it is. Anyway, what actually did they go and get then? Because, like I said, I had it so far off, and I didn't want to necessarily go and take their gold when I didn't warn them about the fact that it might be taking gold at that point. So, obviously I had to rework it if I didn't want to take their gold. So, I went up 1 more on table to CR, I went from CR 0 to 4 on the board to CR 5 to 10. Now, keep in mind, I didn't do all the values. So, like, it might have been better if I had rolled, like, say, Yeah, it might have been better if I had rolled effectively like another D100. Like, what even would it have been? Okay, that might have been actually something that would be worth it. Let me see about what they actually would have gotten. Oh wait, I'll have to roll it. Yeah, I'd have to roll a 2D6 and a D4. Oh. Okay, so let me see about what they would have earned. Okay, so looking at the values that I actually generated, yeah, for a little bit of a quicker bet, I would say that's not that bad of a thing. So yeah, I might actually scrap the second thing and actually still do the like the plan for the first. It's just I really do have to make sure that I plan for effectively other stuff. So obviously when a fight's a little bit more obvious, like, oh hey, this thing's a beast, or oh hey, these people are like obviously a better party, then like yeah, the bets are probably gonna be a little bit more like the gold, and yeah, it is what it is. Now for reference, I will usually go and say that this is I'll usually say that this is how many people lost the bet, essentially. So the players definitely want this to be high. The higher it is, the more people that lost. If it's like a 1, then if it's 100, then they have a very big payday because they're the only ones that bet right. Now, obviously, on a fight like that, if the players are all involved and everybody loses the bet, what happens? Well, it's not entirely. It's not likely to happen, but like if a high percentage of people lose the bet, then the winner of the fight will usually take the money. So in this case, as since the winners each get 1 plat, 8 gold, 9 electrum, 5 silver, 3 copper. I'm going to roll another D100 to see how many people that actually went and bet low. About 30%. So let me get the math on that. Okay, so it's not necessarily like a fully big payday, but I do have the math for it, as well as whether or not he shares so much. So, for reference, with about 30. Anyway, so, like I said, 30% of the people got it. So, obviously we round down in D&D, so, since it wasn't even, 21 people bet low. So, since they went and bet way under the amount that was going to be, like, the threshold, essentially. Because for reference, if it's actually, like, yeah, if you go and see, like, gold, in general, yeah, you should be betting gold. So, like, 3 times, yeah, like, I would say that if you're going to be getting about 4 times what you placed in, yeah, you probably are going to be getting half earnings. Just saying. But, yeah. I mean, obviously, I should probably Actually, yeah, I should probably see about what would be the half for that. Okay, so for reference, even with yeah, even if you do want to go register whether or not they count the half bet, they bet 5 gold. Average bet was 4 gold to Electrum, and then 7 silver. So they were over it. That they still do get a profit, but that said, they don't go get the negative. Now, obviously, like I said, and you bet low, you get half the earnings. So, how did they get half? Well, who gets the half earnings? So, obviously, the person that bet, they still bet correctly. So, in this case, they get 9 gold for they get 9 gold for Electrum, 7 silver, 7 copper. Now that's for those. Now, who actually gets the rest? So it's 9,000. 9 gold for our Electrum, 7 silver, 6 copper to be split between the Colosseum and the victor. So in this case, the victor, who is Crafter, it gets 9 plat, 9 gold, 4 Electrum, 4 silver, 8 copper. Which, to be fair, they did say that if Wretched attacked Justin, he would split the money or split the earnings with Wretched. So, provided he does that and is true to his word, the amount that both him and Wretched gets, granted, funny enough, it still is better than the 2 people that actually want to bet on the thing. But to be fair, yeah, Justin doesn't get anything from this, for reference. But, like, from the thing with Wretched, yeah, he gets, like, they both would get 4 platinum, 9 gold, 7 Electrum, 4 silver, and 9 copper. So, yeah, it's, I would say it's very generous, essentially, type thing. So I'll have that written down for reference so that I can get it a little bit more mid-session. And now for reference on the like value of the magic items, I'm just going to, for the sake of ease, going to count them in terms when they're on the table and rolled. I'm going to count them as like about 300. So they would be about 300 gold for reference. So it should be a decent paycheck with this. Now for reference, doing the pit fighting, yeah, generally it would be about 250. So like, yeah, like, this one is a little bit more public. There's a lot more money flowing in the city because it's a dragon-related town. So obviously, that's going to be like a massive payday for the town because, like, if you can confirm that you have dragon and you're exporting like the dragon's crystals, yeah, people are probably going to be paying a lot for the dragon crystals that are being mined, and yeah. Obviously, if people are spending a lot or getting a lot in town, yeah, they're probably going to be a little bit more frugal with the betting and stuff. So, yeah, they're probably going to be able to earn a little bit more in the, yeah, they're probably going to be earning a little bit more on that in the Colosseum part. Do expect them to be doing a lot of Colosseum, especially after, they figure out, like, wait, you mean that we can earn platinum from, like, just simply fighting in this Coliseum type arena? Heck yeah, let's do it. Why not? That would be lovely. Sure, let's do it. Like carry on the fights. Let's go. Let's just keep them coming. Let's get more fights and stuff like that. Like honestly, that's probably gonna be like about what they do. I'll be real. Uh, but like it is what it is. Essentially. So, uh, yeah. Like I said, that's for the most part all of what went on. I don't think I have anything else to say. Funny enough, I actually had a lot to say on this, and a lot to kind of like explain and come up with. I'm not sure about how much I'm going to be able to condense this. I don't think that there's necessarily a way to condense it, but yeah. Ultimately, it was a great session. I do kind of apologize to Justin for the sake that I effectively placed him into a 4v1, but yeah, like I said in the session, they didn't realize that Wretched was going to do it, and I figured he was probably going to do it, but yeah, like a guy with 2 summons, yeah, they probably weren't going to assume that Wretched would be, you know, actually teaming up with the person. Say like, hey, you two, fight that guy over there, or have fun. Which, to be fair, that's true. I forget whether or not I said like, keep in mind, Wretched, you're on his team, and he still did it anyway. It's like, yeah, okay, Battle Royale it is. So yeah, but really, it is what it is. So, I hope y'all enjoyed this. Like you said, Ambi, Joker, and Squishy are up next. If Grog suddenly comes in, Grog will be offered to go and come in with them. So that will be a fun thing. And for reference, if Grog does ask, he will be told about the spoils. They will probably have the spoils being brought up, essentially, by, like, some people in the break room saying, like, hey, do you see, did you, see that Arya is here today? Maybe we have a shot of getting, some of those, great deals. You think she's here for us? And stuff like that. Obviously, they can entertain it. They can ask questions about it, but ultimately, only one way to find out, and that's to watch the next session. Or for me to go wait a week.